If I need to explain Volume 5 in a single sentence, then I will say that Volume 5 is quite an unfortunate volume. Volume 5 took place after the Deserted Island and Zodiac exam, so the standard for the special exam has skyrocketed and put a lot of pressure on the future volume. Not only does the sport festival feel lacking in comparison, but everything about Volume 5 feels really ordinary because we are no longer on the deserted island or on a cruise ship, but return to the school building. The content of Volume 5 is made for the classroom elite to touch the ground again, because it will be hard to build the hype if we are always served with a hard and complex special exam. And that's why Volume 5 gives us the sport festival that feels like a regular high school event with just a few scenes that are actually worth remembering. I don't say it's bad, but this volume is a setup volume that we need to accept wouldn't be as good as the climax. However, there are a few things that still need to be noted. For example, unlike the previous exams, the sport festival result was counted by combining the points of everyone in the class, so Ayanokoji's usual method of moving behind the scenes wouldn't work in this exam. However, Ayanokoji still chose to do the same thing he usually does, but his goal is far from achieving victory. In a single volume, he forced Horikita to break free from her shell, forced Sudo to become more mature, warned Kushida about her betrayal, and finally took all the attention to himself in the final race. He prepared Horikita and the others to take care of class matters, but at the same time he started to show part of his ability. It seems like a contradictory action, but it's actually a really great plan in the long term. The entire point of Volume 5 is how Ayanokoji already knew the outcome of the sports festival, but just let it happen for a greater good that isn't related to class points. Ayanokoji becomes some kind of omniscient being in this volume thanks to the spy that he planted in Ryuen's class. And it will become really boring if Ayanokoji simply takes a countermeasure to prevent Ryuen, so Ayanokoji's decision to just let Ryuen have his way is interesting in its own way. Even though Ayanokoji's lack of action brings a boring atmosphere just like in the second volume, it is paid in full when the climax comes. Volume 5 also introduces a few important characters that will take the main focus in the future, such as Sakayanagi and Nagumo. The introduction of Nagumo is quite weak because we only saw a nice part of him, and how he was obsessed with competing with Manabu but ended up getting rejected. However, Sakayanagi's introduction leaves an everlasting impression as the true leader of Class A. Her appearance alone made her stand out compared to the rest, and even an ignorant person like Kamura would remember her just because of her leg. But for someone who's willing to observe more, Sakayanagi's introduction put her in a league above Katsuragi. According to Ayanokoji, Class A students stand together, but there is a clear line that separates them with Katsuragi and Sakayanagi as their center. It's interesting to see how Sakayanagi maintained her image without actually doing anything. This later became more clear when she let Katsuragi take charge in the sports festival, but secretly sabotaged him just to make herself look better. The method might be different, but Sakayanagi's action is similar to what Ayanokoji did with Ryuen. And the last thing that made Sakayanagi's introduction important is the reveal of Ayanokoji's origin at the end of the volume. By some strange coincidence, it turns out Sakayanagi knew where Ayanokoji came from, and knew how capable Ayanokoji is. Knowing about Ayanokoji already made Sakayanagi stand above the rest of the class leaders, but feeling confident she could win even after knowing it is what made her character intriguing. Volume 5 delivers Sakayanagi's introduction on the spot and sets her up as the next antagonist. However, Sakayanagi's silent and calculative action made Ryuen's presence feel a bit weak in this volume. Compared to Sakayanagi, Ryuen looks like a caveman who relies on brute force. We are already used to how Ryuen frequently uses unfair methods to win, so seeing him using actual violence and blackmail doesn't really surprise anyone. The only thing that feels new is how he already secured a spy inside Class D. Volume 5 finally brings us the truth on how Ryuen was able to win the Zodiac exam, because it was Kushida who willingly made an alliance with Ryuen to destroy Horikita. We already know that Kushida always has a hidden face on her, so it's nice to finally see Kushida in action. This volume becomes the beginning of the long love-hate relationship between Horikita and Kushida, and also the beginning of Ryuen's journey to find the mastermind behind Class D. If you are wondering why Ayanokoji suddenly challenged Manabu to race, it was one of his plans to distract Ryuen from suspecting him. Ryuen believes that the mastermind wouldn't attract attention to themselves, so Ayanokoji getting attention from everyone is not going to be on his bingo card. As for the result of the race, it's honestly a bit disappointing that Kinugasa keeps trying to hide the limit of Ayanokoji's ability and let it blur so the readers couldn't make a clear judgment. The entire volume was full of Ayanokoji still trying to hide and let us guess how far his ceiling actually is. It's a bit annoying for me, but it's also fun to see Ayanokoji mistaking his grip strength. In overall, this volume is not on par with the previous special exam, but still important as the beginning of the long-awaited fight with Ryuen. It might not be much, but it's still worth reading.